Hey y'all. Uh I wanna just start this up saying that I'm just gonna be talking to myself. Everything's gonna be informal, spontaneous. I will stutter. So where do I begin? Why not a little reminiscing? Alright. Uh I often find that when I reminisce, look back, I learn a lot. I don't look back with the pink lens, you know, that pink lens. I will often acknowledge I've had a lot of bad stuff happen in the past. If you're hearing that scratching, that's just a cat in the background. But anyways, it, it helps to look back. I realize I learned a lot, and it helps me forgive and understand that even the stuff I view negatively, I found a way to have that help me. You prune the bad stuff from bad things and you get what you can, salvage what you can, what's useful. Use that raccoon philosophy. Um, and I see this when I look back on my time when I was homeless. Yeah, there was a time I was homeless. Now, you might be asked, you might already thought, why the heck is this freaking person talking about his time being homeless to everybody on YouTube? Why? That's like one of the things you don't tell people. You just don't. You keep it to yourself. Why are you imparting this? Well, I'm just gonna impart it because I want to. I also just want to get stuff off my chest. I feel like I have to make something. Even just talking, putting these putting out these times I talk to myself on the internet, I think that will be enough. I think that will help. So here goes. So yes, back in 2019, I a lot of things happened with my family. All I will say is it was some really bad decisions, and it ended up happening that I just moved to New Jersey. I previously lived in Oklahoma. Um and we just a lot of things happened. I got my freaking PS4 pawned. I had to move. We moved out. We bounced around a few hotels, and then we just moved to New Jersey. Well, I went there at the prospect of getting a lot of money from a contract, um, from a fellow acquaintance, but that didn't go out so well. So let's just say we went to New Jersey with money prospects. They didn't happen. So we were and we put a lot of money to get there, and none of that happened. It's like paying a lot of money in an investment, and you don't get anything back from it, and you sacrifice so much, or you just back to the dirt. That's what happened. Yeah, so I was homeless in New Jersey. A lot. Okay, at first, part of it was I was staying in that acquaintance's family's home with my mother and my sister. Um, so we did have a home, but let's just some things happened, and I don't know. We just weren't allowed to live in there anymore for some months. And I'll tell you this: during the time in like late 2019, I lost track of time. Like I didn't care. I was like, I don't know how old I was, like 13 years old, 12 years old. I was in my teens, preteens, that kind of age. I was like entering. No, I was still in elementary. I think I was a fifth grader. Yeah, I was a fifth grader. So I'm going through all this. Then I get banned from that house or whatever. I don't know. We were effectively banned. So we were. on the road. We were living in the car. My mom, my sister, me, and her BF. That the BF I'm saying is the acquaintance. So yeah, let's just and let's just say it was a strange time, and I had to keep my head up. I had to keep my head, try to not succumb to all the negativity. Even though at moments I did, it's hard, but I had to keep my head. At the end, I didn't. I knew it was not good to let loose and just let all the elements and the attitude take over. So during this time in the car, my mom and her BF, they did a whole lot of deliveries on Postmates, DoorDash, even for this one Chinese restaurant as a job, just whatever. And keep in mind, this was also the start of 2020. To well, okay, I'll say this. It was the timeline is we like late 2019 we go to New Jersey. Then I became home. We became homeless like towards the end, like November. No, no, no. Yeah, no, no, no. December, like early December is when we like started living in the car, and then we would carry on like this sort of delivery, living in the car type of life through 2020, which was good because a lot of people needed them deliveries. The pandemic would start. We needed to, and we were in a good position to be delivery drivers for a lot of services. We kind of really entered in this little gold mine, keep us a little afloat in our car. But yeah, this I'll tell you. Well, we're still in 2019. We started living in the car, and I'm not. I wasn't. I was used to already sleeping in a car already. There's been times where we slept in the car when we went on road trips because we didn't get any hotels, and we would just cheap out, and yeah, we would stay in the car. I was used to that already. So like this was like just that again, but we were gonna get out. So I'm gonna do it every day for I don't know how long. I didn't look at the days. I would just know. I just, yeah, it was difficult to keep my head up. So I was homeless. I look back with this time because I primarily look back at how I was able to keep my head during this time of homelessness. I remember in New Jersey, there's a bunch of these hotspots, bunch of internet, bunch of Wi-Fi everywhere. There's a lot of little businesses everywhere. It's real. It's one of those it's one of those cities. They have tons of businesses. Almost every corner, there's gonna be a bodega, a restaurant, and they have Wi-Fi. Not only that, you got like Cox hotspots. Wi-Fi was almost everywhere, and sometimes we'd stop by a building to rest, um, or just to shop a little. My mom would stop and I would use whatever Wi-Fi I can get, whatever guest Wi-Fi I can catch on to. Um, and me and my sister would do this so we can download videos. I would download games. We would just get whatever we can on our phones. Because at this time we didn't have service at all. We used to have service, but my mom couldn't afford that. It was expensive, and yeah, we couldn't get that. So what we would do, we would it was best when my mom would drop us off at a restaurant and give us some money because it was usually Wendy's. She'd drop us off and we'd be there for like an hour or two. Me and my sister would get a nice good meal at Wendy's. The biggie bag saved us. And we would download whatever videos we can. Download freaking entire TV shows. Yeah, we even got into torrenting. I remember I would download like South Park, Drawn Together. Really lit. I would download so much. We would just get whatever we can whenever we got Wi-Fi, and this would help because on the road it would help pass the time to watch whatever funny stuff, play games. I got like a lot of offline games. It would help a lot. So I only bring up this memory back when I was homeless, cause keep in mind I was a teen, early teen. I was barely hitting puberty, and I was already experiencing homelessness. And I can mention a lot of things. Let's just say I was being really badly treated by my family. I was being hurt just to be hurt. My hair pulled. It was not fun at all, but I did whatever I can. At least I had my phone with me to download whatever things to keep me laughing, to just distract myself. Not fully succumb to the doom of for situation or circumstances. It helped a lot. That's why I say I don't look back with the rose tinted lens, whatever, because I know it wasn't good. But I was able to laugh, and find some joy, and make my family laugh. Make it like back at home when I was with all my family instead of far away from them in New Jersey. It really I have a bunch of these memories. It's a thing I have is I'm like stuck in the past a lot. And I could be present. I can also be very forward thinking too. It's just it helps to look back. I think it helps consolidate memory and learn lessons, analyze. I'm only gonna say this as a to note how um how I prune stuff. I like to use the term prune stuff in that I could be very analytical. I can remember things, and even the littlest things like like a conversation. I'll remember how somebody said their voice, how they switched up their tone, what their face looked like, what they were looking at, and then I'll be able to prune stuff. I say prune because I sometimes have to get rid of the stuff I don't like to enjoy something. To just get what you can from it, enjoy it. But like picking off, I guess, like much like with actual pruning, like you pick off the bad looking parts on a whatever plant, and you just keep whatever's good or whatever's pleasant. But it's good with pruning that I can also appreciate what was bad, grasp their importance, understand it's not just all bad. Not everything's not that incorrigible. Things have a reason, all things. So yeah, that's why I like to look back a lot. Let's go on with why I want to make something like this. I just wanted to create something. That's one thing that's been in my mind since like 2023. Like I felt like I had to create something. Like I want like fulfillage. I want to be fulfilled. Like I'm in a great position. I wouldn't say I'm like omega like rich. I have everything I could want, buy everything, but like I'm good. Where I'm at, I'm in a good position. I have this nice place. I don't even work. And I want to work. Believe me, I already had applications out. I want to work. Fortunately, that didn't really work out. It sucks because I want to, but it's not necessarily for money. But I'm only saying I'm in a good position right now. Like I have everything I've wanted, and I feel like I have all my material stuff satisfied. Like, and I'm talking. I remember like since 2019, I've been wanting a gaming PC, like a powerful, like top of the line PC. That's the, the stuff that costs thousands, and I got that this year. I got a freaking powerful PC, plays like the newest games, 100 plus for max settings, ray tracing. Has an RTX freaking 5070 Ti. I'm only saying this because that's just one thing. I also got like a PS5, another thing I wanted in 2020, and I finally got it some years ago. I bought that entirely, but with my own money actually. And I got this cool room with its own TV, like all this stuff I wanted when I was little. Everything I wanted. It's like I want something like fulfilling mentally, spiritually. It's like even with all the stuff I could want, all the I if I want a good meal, I can want that. I even learned to cook some good food. I can like I have all that material stuff, but like now it's like especially like a 2024 or early 2025, I realized like I want something deeper. I think like I just need to feel fulfilled for once. I feel like I accomplished. And not I don't want like a shallow reward, like a freaking trophy or a bunch of money. No, it's like something deeper, more effectual and affectionate. So I realized like in 2023, I was like I gotta make something. So I try to make I wanted to learn to make a game, like a video game. I love video games. I've been playing them since I was little and I still do. I was especially in started like 2020, I was deeply fascinated by the process of game development, especially graphics, the computer graphics, the whole realm. It's really depth. I love lighting. I love lighting in real life too, but like in video games, it's fascinating. All the methods they've done it, direct lighting, indirect lighting, global illumination, doing that ray tracing, path tracing. Um, I find that very fascinating. So in 2023, I tried to learn. I started off with C++. Plus plus. It was probably in 2020, like late 2023. I tried to start C++. Plus plus. I watched a long video, learned some basic C++ plus plus programming like arrays, object-oriented programming, learn how to make simple programs, like the terminal programs, that like a simple calculator, um some like Mad Lib type game, something like that. Those simple stuff if you ever stuff like that. Then I try to do it again with Python, and it just sucks because I learned all this. I went so deep in trying to learn all this, and I would just get stuck when like I'd open like Unreal Engine 5 or 4 I meant, which is why the engine I wanted to make my game in, because I got stuck. It's like where do I begin? I feel like I haven't learned enough. I just follow these tutorials, but like I want to start making my own stuff without having a guide. Like I just want to make it, but not feel like I'm stuck or I'm clueless, and I can only feel like I have to make something when I have to I have to get my hand held by somebody. And it's like that's not really my creation, is it? There, I'm just following their directions. And you're trying to learn, be creative with what the stuff they're teaching me, which is good. But like, it's like I just want to already get on with development, get on with it, my own stuff, my own projects. And it's like that's what I gave up. I was like, and I try to do this so much, like especially in 2025 in the summer. I try to get back into development and I couldn't. I remember like downloading Unreal Engine 5 and I was like opening it. I was like, what the fuck do I even do? What am I doing? And not only that, I try to learn 3D modeling, which I actually did a lot of. I think in the video you'll see some images, a slideshow of my rent of some renders I've made. Um, I think I can get back into that because I remember I followed a bunch of tutorials and I actually learned a lot of the shortcuts and basic modeling techniques. I was able to actually make my own stuff. Like I got like sure like I think that's a good example of how I was able to be patient, have patience. We need patience, and just and then finally go on my own volition and make my own stuff of what I've learned. Um, because at first when I tried to get into Blender. Again, that was part of my fascination with game development. I thought 3D models. I think there's a lot of advantages of 3D modeling and 3D animation. I haven't done 3D animation, but with the 3D models, I I learned a lot about texture shading, but thing is, it was pretty hard to remember a lot what I did in those tutorials I followed. So in the renders, a lot of the textures you see are actually just um, procedural node textures I made from following some Blender YouTubers' directions. And there's a few, like the plaster wall on one, that is just, I just downloaded the PBR textures and, mapped that on some mesh. Um, but I did learn to model on my own a lot, like not my own, but from some videos I was able to make my own meshes. I did follow a few tutorials, but like I remember I spent a few days making that one that looks like a tree with a bunch of glowing hexagon leaves. I was inspired by this like tree lighting a street lamp in this like modern new town in China or Taiwan something I saw in a video. But I yeah, I try to get back into Blender, Unreal Engine programming. I just can't anymore. It's like a passion I can't rekindle anymore. It's like trying to ride, but the horse is dead, which sucks. It's like I had so much fun. I had a passion. And now it's like I can't get back into it without feeling like I have to learn everything. And this sucks now because I had this phase in 2020 when I was thinking I had to create something. I tried to learn things. And it was just like, I was just self hatred fueled. I always felt like I have to not literally hit myself, but sometimes I did. But like hit myself mentally and like, why aren't you learning? You're like, I had to be like a drill sergeant to myself, like the movie drill sergeant. I was like, I'm feeling so worthless, and I'm feeling like I have nothing. Let's like just look at this. It's like it just became distracting to try and learn, but then I have like this drill sergeant me in my head going, yelling at myself, going, "You have to read. You have to read. You freaking burger boy. You have to memorize. Memorize harder. Ponder infinity. Ponder harder, harder." Turn those pages. You will create your stuff by the next day. You will commit every word to memory. And like at the end, it would just get me out of it. It would just be so, it would make me give up easily. Just hitting myself mentally. Feeling so worthless and just like, I'm like, I can't do it. I feel like a destitute. And I still feel this way now. Well, I don't know about now because I feel like I'm actually making something here. So yeah, that was my 2023. I just couldn't really make something I wanted. I don't know. I could always start small, but with me, it's just like I'm like an all or nothing. I just want the goddamn thing in my dreams to happen already. I want to make that freaking cool game. I want to make that 3D stealth shooter, whatever. I have a lot of great ideas, I think, for art, for game development, for game mechanics, even stories. I actually I'll say this again, another thing when I try to get into creating like a project, like finally having something happen that I made with my hands. So in 2025, I felt like I felt like I wanted to learn how to write on my own, like really learn like writing, like grammar, syntax, and I wanted to make my own stuff, my own stories or whatever. Become a writer, essentially. Really, it was only that I wanted to fine tune my writing. I don't know, I felt like it was ungrammatical or it was going to be syntax errors or was it concise enough because I was taking an AP language and composition class and I thought that damn whatever I was being taught wasn't even helping. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll just have AI teach me all this. Teacher ain't helping, so I'm like, I guess even though she was, I just had to be patient. And again, it was the same cycle of just hitting myself to try and learn something on my own. I hated that. It's like trying to learn even a simple concept. Just I felt it was like emotional, like a moral thing, rather than just an intellectual thing. Just to try and learn how to fine tune some skills. And it was more of a emotional. I don't exactly know why it's that. I guess I feel like my worth is derived from my skills. Could be why I kind of have this competitive nature, even though I'm actually against competition a lot. But anyways, yeah, in 2025 and start 2026, I try to learn, English again. Not like the language, but how to write and like writing, the grammar, syntax, punctuation, words, write the sentences, clauses, clause level stuff, the morphemes that form the words, with the prefixes and suffixes and infixes, stuff like that. It all helped. It has. And and I did kind of write something. I have this journal I've had throughout like 2023. Because in 2023 I started a lot of this like self-improvement stuff. Part of that was the whole creating projects, creating my own stuff. And part of that was also I got this journal so that every day I would leave an entry. That barely fucking lasted. Couldn't stay consistent. It's a theme in my life. Can't really be that way. Only with a few things I am. But anyways, with this journal in like 2026, I would write down some stuff. Some of it were just actual journal entries, but one of them was a story. I tried to write this story of someone murdering their APLAC teacher. I didn't finish that because it basically became. I started to question why would someone want to do this. You know what? I have the journal right by me, so I can read the last thing I wrote on it, and you'll see why I stopped. Don't worry, there was no death. All right, I gotta turn a few pages. Where was that thing? Okay. So I left off this unfinished story on. Where was it? Where's that last sentence? All right, but he decided one day, like that, to get bloody revenge on his teacher. He. Oh, I don't even can't read that. He felt that his communication was producing was producing expected successes despite engaging in problem solving with a mindset rid of expectations. This dude struck Aurelius's what? No, 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 no. Here's what I kind of got me to stop writing. Okay, a question struck Aurelius, which is the character supposed to be like me. Head. One day, and in quotes, why do I get sensitive or emotionally charged against observations on my works? He noticed this when he perceived a contradiction in his disregard for metrics like grades. Yeah, those last two sentences basically like kind of got me to not actually put murder in this story. While I'm at it, I can write. I can say that I actually also put a lot of. I wrote down a lot of ideas. These are sort of like journal entries, but they're not personal. They're more like. Well, they are actually personal, but There were like ideas, premises, or yeah, premises, or yeah, of stories. Think like, fictional works. So I wrote down like, okay, where is that? Okay, on May 21st, 2026, I wrote an idea for a really prudent and sophisticated simulation of human reality is rotting or damaged. The simulation has many protocols and measures to keep reality representation within acceptable thresholds. Assets are being regenerated and optimized constantly. Constantly. It looks really chaotic. It looks like reality is digitally healing and decaying. This spectacle does not look like a video game's corruption. Another idea. A depthful piano note or riff playing when a killer emerges into a I can't really read that. I'll just say emerges into frame. Another idea. The coordinator. Oh, this is exciting. I've always thought this would be like a cool video game boss or enemy. The coordinator doesn't have the in the beginning of the article. No, it just says coordinator and then semicolon. Coordinator, a synthetic humanoid. Their skin is absolutely smoothed. Smooth. Their speech is precise, and they are designed in a fully devoted. No, they are desiccated, as in they have no emotions. Like really robotic, and fully devoted to significant directives from a higher authority. I always imagined this kind of coordinator, if they were like a video game boss, they would be like I guess the lapdog of some sort of evil entity. They would be like this absolute like devoted member who's precise and will like argue to the player as they're trying to kill them in like in a giant fight. But ultimately the player triumphs and is able to destroy the coordinator. Or the coordinator reminds me of someone who will fight whatever for whatever cause. Even if they know they're wrong, they'll die for it. Even if they know there's contradictions. Another idea. A 3D realistic immersive sim in the woods with horrific encounters and moral dilemmas. This was I got this idea when I was watching a Friday the 13th movie. I was thinking, let's say, yeah, in the woods. I would say, what if you're like this? The players in the woods. They live in a cabin. Um, and they try and they do their usual duties to maintain their settlement. But then there's all these moral conflicts and um yeah, there's I was inspired by the Lakeview Cabin game, but also like Friday the 13th. You can imagine the players like a pious, like independent person who just is just devoted to like certain principles, but it's just it's like hell where he's at. It's like it's like purgatory almost. He has to go through all these moral dilemmas that have him like completely. It's a tribulations, like it violates his principles. He becomes traumatized. Do the stuff he never imagined when all he wanted was just some peace and some peace from the rest of the world. But even when he gets that, when he thinks he has that peace, there's all this hell where he's at. You can imagine probably have to kill animals for food when he just wanted to survive off just whatever he can grow instead. Plants. Maybe he'd have to destroy someone's life just to save his own. Stuff like that. Or maybe he'd had to survive from a murderer. Who knows? Another idea. Wait, is this it? Oh, this one. This one's also like, if I can make a movie, I think this would be it. Or like a really big game, it'd be this. An apocalyptic story with terror and tragedy and massacres for a week. Towards the end, mass decay and maggots and flies adorn everywhere. Now, I expanded this idea. It sounds pretty broad, but here it is. Here's the expansion, the addendum. A seldom phenomenon. No. That's not it. Here's the addendum. On the idea of the apocalypse, the streets would be blood-soaked. Almost every street and building exterior is blood-stained near the end. End of the story. Make this not a nobody wins story. I always like that idea of like nobody winning in a story. I've loved when movies have that. Like nobody wins. That's just what I feel like in life. In my life especially. Just nobody wins. That's why I love in a movie. It just feels so realistic when nobody wins and like a lot of tragedy happens. I love that. But I want to make the story like a nobody wins story. Now, and I'll elaborate. I want to call the story Hell in Paradise, and I even drew this sign. It's like a real poppy sign. That's like an arrow pointing to like a town. Well, the town didn't draw the town, but I just drew the sign. But it's an arrow, and it says "Welcome to Paradise," and Paradise is in quotation marks. And then there's a population. I just put a bunch of X's because I don't know how much would be there. And here's the other addendum. Make this a pessimistic commentary on society. Everybody got what they expected. Make this journey really explosive, like Dead Rising. Everybody gets what they always wanted. But what they always wanted, you'll see it in the end. That's when I said there's dead bodies, there's blood everywhere, there's maggots and flies everywhere because everybody almost dies. I say Paradise, and that's kind of like a parody of commentary, like an American society and freedom, what that really produces. How everybody gets what they wanted, but it turns out it becomes hell for them. And then like everybody dies in the end. It's like, this is what you wanted, right? And this is what it produced. I think that's enough of those ideas. I have a lot more ideas if y'all want to hear those, but I think I want to move on. But yeah, I had a little, I guess, foray into writing that way. I never published any of it. It's just in my writings and in these little entries on my journal. Some of them I also just wrote on my phone, and when I didn't have my journal on with me, I just typed them in on some notes. I have them saved still. But yeah, I think I'm gonna turn off the light. I don't need it right now. So yeah, I had a foray into writing, and I did improve some writing. Even though like I feel like I didn't engage with the material I tried to learn with when I was trying to learn again with learn to write. Really clear up, brush up on stuff I never really learned. I think I've noticed in schools, my schools, is they never really taught grammar or syntax. Now I know there's a whole debate of it being grammar being like either prescriptive or descriptive. because a lot of people always say that's not grammatical, that's an improper grammar. When sometimes I mean there's no syntax. The syntax is incorrect. One thing with grammar is when you learn, you realize there's so much ways you can write a sentence and have the same meaning. And there's also dialects, and they can vary the meaning depending on the can they can carry the different meanings depending on who reads it. It depends on where they live, their upbringing, where they live, their dialect. That's where it becomes a bit kind of confusing, but it also means there's a lot of, I guess, range when it comes to writing. That's why I think it could be such a creative field. And that's where you get into whole diversity of interpretations, especially on like popular writings, like the Bible. Well, I mean, look what that freaking branched into. Look at all those Protestant branches. But yeah, even with grammar syntax, it can be difficult to pinpoint the exact meaning of a writing. You just have to like really analyze the text and realize where it was from, who the audience it was for, the vocabulary. You almost have to like really read into the context, rhetorical analysis, I guess, or you'd look into the author, what they worked with, who they worked for, and that's when you can really get the exact meaning of what they want. You basically want to almost be in their mindset and the minds of who it was for, even for that time. It's one thing I've learned when it comes to getting the intended interpretation. Um, but yeah, I feel like even with my brief foray into writing, it didn't help. It didn't feel fulfilling. Again, I didn't really publish it. I guess now I kind of gave y'all some of it now that I just talked about it and read a few of my actual writings to y'all. My ideas. I feel like I have so much. That's why I think I really want to create just something creative, an art, like I feel like I have so much ideas I can give. Some of it may be legit innovative and helpful, especially if I get into like something like engineering or computer engineering or programming. But it's just I do, and it's like there's plenty of people on this planet, on this overpopulated planet of humans, that can get into my same job and produce the same. But like I'm me, I'm different. We're unique. We exist for the sake of ourselves, not for each other. It just sucks that we kind of need each other. But anyways, no, it doesn't suck that we need each other. But it's difficult to balance that. I've noticed there's always a duality in everything that's difficult to balance. It's always a thing of two or more. But I gotta move that as a cat trying to get on the paper. But I always felt like there was no point of trying to learn a skill like that, like get a degree. It's like someone can just take my job, can just take that position for me, and it's like I had a bad period like a month ago, a few weeks ago, where like I was very suicidal, and this has happened before. I've gone very suicidal, even when I was little. I've always thought of killing myself or getting into just being really like rash because it's like I went through way too much as a child. I could get into the grisly details of it, but all you need to know is if what I went through, y'all couldn't even imagine it. Now I'm not saying that to show off at all. It's just I went through way so much, and that I'm still healing from it, and I'm only 17 right now. I'm going through it all, and this thing is, I can't just talk about it all. Like, it's difficult for me to heal from it because I never really, ever since I was little, I never really talked to anybody about it. I never really had a therapist. Like, I never actually had a real formal therapy. Recently, I've been trying to get into it, and there's been 2 failed attempts to finally go into, have my counseling appointment actually happen. But Yeah, when I was little, I didn't really come out with a lot of things that happened to me, or I didn't talk about it. It sucks because I did have a mother who would listen, but like I just didn't talk about it. I just knew it. I just what I had in mind. I was fearful that like if something really bad happened, I didn't know what my mom was gonna say, and she was somehow gonna make it my fault sometimes, or it would just mean more family drama. I felt like I was trying to defend myself, defend someone, even if they did something bad to me. It's just like I can't just say it to them. Maybe it became natural to like for something really bad to me or something emotionally impactful that was especially wasn't good to just not talk about it to anybody. It just became natural, to just like bottle it up and like just internalize it and just have my mind deal with it. So for years, and now this still happens. I don't I don't communicate. I'm reticent. I don't. I'm quiet. I'll keep quiet. Just internalize it. Try and keep my mouth shut about it. It's difficult because it does come out in some way, in diverse ways. Like I project. I will do out of pocket things. It just became the way I can only express myself because I don't do it in other outlets, healthier outlets like, creating art like I've been trying to create something. No, no, I'm trying to change it up right here with this recording, but before it was just I would get sometimes really mean or it'd be really weird and my family would not understand me and it just sucks. I have to live this life where I always feel like I'm being watched. I feel like I'm on the stage. I'm like the only person spotlight on me. Well, the entire audience is the world is watching me. I hate that. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. And I had to, with all this internalization, it made me really introspective. Just do weird things. I feel a bit special ed, which I know isn't bad, but I always feel like I could have help from them, but never happened. Think what I when I again I'll look back right now. I'm gonna reminisce because one thing that was strange is that I used to have a lot of friends, and now I don't. Like I really, I have okay. I have friends from a state away from me, but I don't really speak to them anymore. But when I'll get on to why it's that way. But back to I'll reminisce. I was back when I was in elementary. I actually did a majority of my elementary years in this one school, and I love that. I just loved. I'll say this. I remember having so many friends. My classroom, I had so many classmates I would just easily talk to. It was simple. Like making a friend was easy, and keeping up with them was easy. It was like natural to me. Instead of just being quiet. It was just natural. I had so many. I even remember their names. I won't say them, but they've been stuck with me. It's just those names been stuck with me. But what would happen later in that time in my elementary school where I did a majority of my years of elementary years? What would happen like in fourth grade was I moved to Oklahoma, and I didn't realize what I was gonna lose at all. I didn't realize that I was not gonna see these friends anymore. And and this was in 2018 when I did the moving. So, and I lost so much more than just these friends. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know how to say it. I was feeling it and I didn't know how to say it. What I was going through. I was like, I just lost my all my dogs I took care of when I was little. They went with other owners. They were with family, but I didn't get to see them for so long. I didn't realize I was gonna lose them, like for good, and then for a while, and then my friends, I remember their names, but and their faces, but like I didn't realize I was not gonna see them ever again. When I moved to Tulsa, I was gonna not see my family as much as I used to, because almost all my family, they live in one state, which is where I'm at now. But when I moved to Tulsa, in Oklahoma, Tulsa, it was different. They weren't really there. Almost none of them were there. Like, yeah, it's like I lost so much without realizing it. Now I know they didn't die that time, but what I lost, but it was like I didn't realize what I was really losing. That's why again I look back. I realized there was horrible things I didn't even notice before, but now it's like I see it now. Why things turned out as they are now. So yeah, I moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I went to the school there, I was bad. I was way like meaner. I didn't speak to much people. I kept to myself. And I only really made one friend, but later on he would just say I was a douchebag and left me. I remember that was his words. I'm a douchebag. Specifically, douchebag. And that's why we had a falling out. I don't even know what I did, but again, I was really rash at that time. I was like doing whatever to provoke a fight. I know there's a word for that. I just don't know it. I don't know what to pronounce it or what it was like. I just know there's a word that means that. But like I was trying to do whatever to provoke a fight, a conflict. I was going through so much, and worst of all, I've always been I was always like had unrestricted internet access, and I was getting into some stuff that is, I'm sorry to say this, but cringy stuff. I knew it was cringy, but for some reason it appealed to me because, well, let's just say it was awakening something I really wish I never awakened. But I'll say why I'm glad I gone through with all that, anyways, it was a turbulent time in my head. I was just in my head a lot, trying to just go through with school. And not only that, back at home, it was kind of bad because at first, when I moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma, everything seemed good. Like, um, my mother finally reunited with my dad that I haven't seen in years. And I only remember seeing my dad, and I was like, not even in pre-K. And this, it was like everything seemed so magical. Like I finally moved. We have a home. We didn't. We finally have a home. Because I'll tell you this though, when I was in fourth grade, at school before I moved to Oklahoma, I was like, we moved out. We were staying on my aunt's house, which was really good. I'll tell you why. Again, I'll tell you why. I just didn't realize how much I was losing at that time when I moved out to Tulsa. When I moved to Tulsa, but anyways, in Tulsa, like when we first moved there, it was so magical. Like, my mom and dad are back together, like are finally back together, and we're like me and my sister are here. It's like the family's reunited. Oh my gosh, it's like, can things finally get better? And but what would happen is if that was quickly shared, that was fleeting. That would like this reality only last for like a month or two, and then when we moved, it would just that would quickly get taken. My dad moved out. He kind of just sort of left us, and then our utilities got shut down. Everything was just put onto my mom to keep this house, to keep the pay the house, get the utilities back. Now, thankfully, when that happened, it was also tax season. My mom got her tax refund, so she was able to quickly get back on our feet with that refund, get us back on our feet at that house. But still, it's like, oh my gosh, I was so much was lost and I didn't realize it. What did help was that my family, given that Tulsa, Oklahoma, is still close to Arkansas, which is where I live right now. A lot of my family there. My aunt would come and back, and she often brings a lot of family over too, and they'd come over. So yeah, thankfully those times I had my family to finally be around with. But again, I always had that thing of not really telling people what I really had in mind. The stuff that was tormenting me. I always kept it in with me. So I went. So at least I had that in Tulsa for some time. I lost so much at that time, though. I'll say this: I'll go back to when I said I was staying with my aunt, like late when I was still in fourth grade. So yeah, we I moved out around our time, around my like early fourth grade. I moved out. Our family moved out their home because we were trying to move somewhere. I often forget. It was like a bad financial situation. Like we had a lot of money, but let's just say some complications happened, and I could not get all that. We couldn't get what we exactly wanted, so we were staying with our aunt for the time being. No, I twisted that up. I can't. I don't know if I should even say it here, and I can't even exactly remember it all. But basically, we moved with our aunt. We had to stay there for the time being, and I didn't realize that was like the best time in my life. This was 2018, and it was like I didn't realize I had so much there. Um, see, with thing with my aunt, she takes care of my grandma, so they live in the same apartment. They live in the same house, and also all my family. This is like the next. My aunt is like the nexus of our family. Almost all like the big celebrations, big dinners. A lot of our family always come to that house. All over. It's like the nexus point for my family. It's always at this on. So I would almost like every week someone would come over when there's like Christmas or Thanksgiving. So many people come over. It's and not only that, if there's another celebration, we're all going to their house with my aunt. It's like we get so involved. And in that time in 2018, I was living with my aunt, my mom, my brother, my sister, her grandma, and then my dad got back in, and then all this like these holidays and my other family, we're setting up the Christmas tree as a family, putting up decorations. My dad's finally back in the picture. I didn't realize it. Like, yeah, we were not exactly rich, but we were still poor. But damn, that was happy. I was happy. It was like this is fulfilling. This is what I wanted. It was a warm times spending time with my mother, watching TV with her. The shows I used to find boring, but now I see why she likes them, and now it's like this is actually entertaining to be with her, to watch movies, to laugh together. It would all, and then we would celebrate like my birthday. We had that belated celebration for my birthday, and we went to like the theaters around Christmas time to watch that Grinch movie as a family. It's like, and then when I moved to Tulsa, that all got lost. There was a few times my family would come over, like I said, but like I didn't realize it at that time. Like I didn't realize it. It's just I was going through the motions it gave me anyways. I was just like just going through with it, not knowing why that was happening, but like I didn't realize I lost so much. All that I had was my phone, but I was uncareful with the internet and I was growing up, I was looking at some pretty dirty stuff. I'll just say that. I was trying to be, I guess, serendipitous with it, but no, that doesn't work. It's just you're just gonna look into some dirty shit. That I'll say this: don't look into porn. Don't. Just don't. Don't ever. Don't do that because I went through so much around 2019 to 2025, early 2025, all because of freaking porn. Just don't. That's all I'll say. Just don't. You'll go through terrifying avenues to see atrocities, all just so you can fulfill some stupid hormones that don't even that there's it's like a drug addiction. It just doesn't help at all. It won't help any. Just don't do that. I went through so much, and I'll say this: I've quit porn for a year or more. I've even quit masturbation. I've quit that, thank gosh. Just don't do that. You'll be so much better off without it. Cuz I've seen some horrible stuff what people do for that. It's I can get into all sorts of horrible things people do for this, what they've done just for money, or just this disgusting freaking chemical desire. It, it's changed my life permanently. When I look back into my addiction with porn and masturbation, it made me realize romance is not for me. I don't I don't ever get the whole relationship thing. I don't even want to be in a relationship like a romantic, couple relationship, start even to start no, like I just can't do that. I can't. It's made me I immediately feel an aversion to women, to females, or even talking to people because of what porn I freaking just saw all that. It just everything feels a bit creepy sometimes. Like everything feels like there's a bit of sexual tension. It's like it's difficult to live like this. I have the residual effects. I've been going through with them, and they are finally they are waning slowly. But just I'm telling you this, just don't get into porn. But it has taught me this. There are some people that will do whatever to fulfill or get that damn poo-tang or sex, whatever. Don't do that. Just don't. I'm talking from experience here. I've even had my share of it, but it doesn't help. It doesn't help. Getting laid just don't help. It don't help at all. It doesn't. When you tell somebody, oh, he needs to get laid, he sounds like he needs to get laid. It doesn't help. It doesn't. It You'll just go back into it like a freaking having a drinking addiction. You'll think it'll help. You'll think the other bottle will help. It won't help. It won't. It sucks because it was difficult for me, especially because when I was really, really little and throughout my like childhood, let's just say the stuff I saw on TV that was just put on the living room, it was horrible stuff. It wasn't chill. It wasn't just chill. Yeah, of course it was children shows, but there was also like those raunchy ass adult shows with freaking sex scenes and dirty humor, even some explicit scenes, and then porn at sometimes too. Like imagine being surrounded by that in your childhood. Yeah, it's gonna be difficult to not be horny when like that's what you saw when you were little. And I did some horrible shit just because I was horny, especially when I was little, because I've been exposed to that at such a young age. I done things that I'm still can never forget, and they're so I just can I don't. It's like the kind of thoughts that can get someone to kill themselves just because I was horny. Just just don't if you have a child, don't show them that stuff at a young age. It's good just it's good to have restrictions on your child when the kind of stuff can actually ruin their lives in the long term. And it sucks because now there's this culture online where I don't know what exact the whole safe horny culture online where like they post it happens a lot with the freaking furries too, with the furries especially online, where like kids will get exposed to this content where it looks friendly, it looks like ooh cartoon animal characters, oh so cute, but then there's like they always put this hint of sexual tension and kids get drawn into that. Unfortunately, it awakens something. They'll get drawn into it, and what do you know? Oh gosh, they're gonna be secretly doing some scary shit, seeing some horrible stuff at a young age, and they're gonna keep that a secret. That shameful secret. Just don't even get into the whole safe horny. Just best of all, if it's especially if it's furry shit, just forget it. Just don't look back. Just disregard it. keep animals safe. Don't ever sexualize animals. And humans too. Don't sexualize anything, especially animals. Just leave the animals alone. Don't draw them like that. Come on, it's horrible. We already do a lot to animals already. We freaking people, we slaughter them. We freaking cage them for the fur and all that. For eggs, we do horrible stuff. But come on, don't sexualize. At this point, we're doing just all sorts of genocide against them. Don't make it worse. All just so you can get your freaking sick orgasm, your disgusting orgasm, your sick, your weird pleasure, whatever pleasure that you're just gonna keep going back for because it will never really be fulfilling. It's never fulfilling. Porn's never fulfilling. It's honestly why I'm very against the porn industry and all that. Just forget it. I know it's difficult to manage being horny, but with me, thankfully, I put in a lot of hard work, and like an addiction, you will relapse, but eventually the relapses fade away and you'll finally be free. With me, I'm finally safe to say I'm broken out of it. I don't look at porn. I don't want to masturbate. I don't. I just I don't. I don't. I'm glad I'm away from that. I finally felt like I took a shackle off of me. Took a really stubborn, fortified shackle off my arm, off my wrist, off my foot, off my head, my neck. But yeah, just a lesson here. Just don't look at porn, especially if you're little. Like, if you feel horny, it's gonna be difficult to manage. But the least you can do, just don't look at porn. Just don't. Don't look at anything to get you sexually aroused, because you'll be sexualizing everything. And that is not a life you want to live. Believe me, that is not a life you want to live. You'll be looking at even inanimate objects a certain way that's just gonna, it's disturbing. It's just not a way to live at all. Anyways, I think that's about enough for this whole talk to myself session. I can get into more of this. If you don't, I mean, I guess I don't know if y'all if this will get viral. I don't expect this to get really popular or anything. Just I might post when I just feel like I'll post whenever I want to. Just say what's on my mind. I'm not gonna say I'm exactly super credible for all things. I like to, when, except from the stuff I know I have a lot of personal experience with, like with the porn stuff, managing that. Just get rid of that. But yeah, I think I'll wrap up here. No, it's a long session. Be a good think it was a good background noise for y'all, or something really fascinating for you to study. I don't know. I might just come back and post another session, talk myself session, whenever I feel like it. But yeah, bye y'all.